Alright, welcome to another episode of JYR Trades. I am your host Jesse, and let me tell you what a day it was today on Tuesday, April 28th. It was one of those days that if you look closely at the market, it was speaking to you even before the move was made. Alright, with that said, guys, as always, remember that everything that I share on my channel, on my content here, is for educational purposes. Nothing is financial advice. But I will say this: if you want to learn how to become a better trader by trading market structure, auction theory, equilibriums, liquidity, in other words, if you want to learn how to trade the market like the way the pros do, like the way the big institutions do, then you're in the right place. If you want to join me on my journey and you actually want to learn day by day, okay, and learn the right way, hit that subscribe button, like, share, and comment. I would definitely love to hear from you. And as always, welcome. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started. As always, I'm going to give you a quick description of what to expect on today's video, and then we'll cover it here on the screen one step at a time. Alright guys, so in today's session was not a normal trend day. We opened outside of value expecting expansion to the downside, but the market had other plans. In this video, guys, I am going to break down why this setup looked bearish at first, how conflicting POCs, Asia versus London, created a rotational environment, okay, what a failed repair attempt actually means, and how that failure led to a slow expansion to the upside. This is the type of day that teaches you how to read the bigger picture, not just follow signals. And I mean that, guys. Today I was able to tell, even before market open, that what was there on paper, what was there in front of you, was not actually going to be the big move. Okay, key concepts that I'm going to be covered, guys, today is liquidity failure, repair versus expansion logic, rotational versus directional days, why context matters more than bias. Okay, today we had a short bias, but you're going to see that the context mattered more in the end. The lesson, guys, for today is when liquidity fails, it doesn't mean nothing happened. It means everything has changed. Okay? Alright. So, first things first, guys. Alright. I thought the market today was going to go down. Everything pointed down. But then this happened. Alright. Now, first things first. Let's look here at the chart. Alright. This is London right before New York is about to open, and if you notice here, out of all the structures that I have, all these lines here, we only have one below us. Alright, first things first, I'm gonna ask myself is, where is New York value? Okay, now New York value, guys, today is represented by this white line here and this white line. Okay, this particular section right here represents New York value, and when you look at it, okay, we are outside and below it. Okay, so that automatically tells us, technically speaking, that we're not in a rotational day, technically speaking, right? In fact, when you look at it, we have some structures leading to the south. Okay, so let's talk about it. The first thing I looked at today, I'm like, okay, we're outside value. However, where are my mids and where's my POC? So the first thing I look at is, where is my Asia POC? This is my Asia, okay, POC right here, and then this is my Asia mid. As you guys know, I get my fixed range volume profile, measure from this beginning to the end. Alright, and this gives me basically my POC, point of control. I put this red line here all across, and then I measure a fib from top to bottom. At the halfway point, this is where I get my specific mid. So the first thing I notice is, I said, wait a minute, we have a POC leading the charge, okay, and behind it is our mid. Normally, if we are going to go down, I would like to see the POC leading the charge down and the mid behind it. This was different today. This was different. Okay, we had the POC leading, the mid behind it, and then I looked down. I said, let me look at my London POC. So I measured, and sure enough, it gave me a POC leading the way, and the London mid actually behind it. So right off the bat, guys, this was conflicting information. And right off the bat, I said, this is telling me that the market needs to rebalance before it decides to make a decision. In other words, because we were outside and down below value, it didn't mean automatically that we were going to expand to the downside. Yes, we had VWAP pointing down, okay, but right off the bat, that just didn't give me the assurance that we were going to go straight down because of this here, because of this POC leading this mid to the top side. So sure enough, let's look at what actually happened. Okay, now technically speaking, the expectation, guys, was that we were going to go to the downside, but this didn't allow. Okay, all right, because why? The Asia POC is giving us bullish pressure. The London is giving us bearish pressure. The market was literally split into two directions. Okay, so first things first, let's take a look at what happened when New York opened. All right, now you'll notice right off the bat, guys, that we had migration come down to the downside, and it took a while. Migration didn't happen right away. In fact, migration took nearly I want to say 24 minutes. Okay, at 7:53, so 23 minutes into it. Yesterday, on the other hand, it only took 3 minutes and migration happened right away. Okay, now you'll see that price when initially faked to the downside, and then it started going through my Remittar cloud. Okay, went up. Okay, at this point I had not moved my fib, my zero. I had it on opening, on my opening here. Okay, and I gotta tell you, I was a little, I wasn't impatient, but I'll tell you where I took a trade earlier, and I'll give you my reasoning for it. All right, so price goes up to VWAP, comes back down at 7:53. It does a migration. This is where I move my zero here, and this is a zero for the day. This is where the fair value price is telling you right here. Price decides to go back up to VWAP here. All right, and what does it do at this point, guys? This is the actual move to the downside. It starts to move down. Okay, from the 25, it goes down all the way to about the 62, a little bit past the 62. All right, it does a little bit of rotation back and forth between the 62 and the final POC. All right, now I will tell you where I took, first of all, my trade, and where I would have taken a second trade had I taken a second trade. All right, so first things first, let me open up. I do have a program that I built that is technically designed for outside value. Okay, and this just does a couple of things for me. One, guys, first things first, I go in here and I put in, my New York value area high, my low, my POCs, my Asia POCs. I put all this prior auction zero, post migration, and this is what this is going to do, guys, is this is going to give me an idea. Okay, what should we be expecting? Okay, when this opened up, it opened up below value. Okay, our overnight range, these numbers are a little different, earlier in the morning, because right now things have changed, okay, and whatnot. This is the current overnight range right now, okay, because right now it's Asia time right now. Okay, but okay, so going back to it, so I don't want to confuse you here. So initially I said to myself, okay, it looks to me like, first of all, we have all the liquidity over here. And I thought to myself, it's not going to get there. Not right from the get-go. It's not going to repair all the way up here. Okay? And so I'll tell you, once I saw price did this fake move to the downside, and it started coming back into the cloud, okay, and this line right here represents opening New York, this green line here. Once I saw that we were outside the cloud and we were above New York open, I took this long. Now I did target specifically, all right,
Working across teams is tough.
I did target specifically and right around the edge of my box here. This is my liquidity box here. Once I put in my inputs for my post migration, it draws this automatically right here. And you'll notice that again that this is the 120 point box. So, 60 points this way, 60 points in this direction. And you'll notice that price did not go above it. Okay. And what does it do? Okay, starts coming back down. So once I got my take profit here, I said I was done for the day. I did observe throughout the day, and I noticed it came back down into auction zero, went back up, and then this is where I would have taken the second trade. Okay, initially you see here after migration happened, you see a couple of signals here that happened before migration. I don't even look at those. Okay, but had I taken a second trade, guys, I would have taken it right at the zero here. When I saw the rejection here, I would have taken this and I would have targeted at the minimum, guys, the 50 here. Okay, passing this last POC, that would have been the minimum that I would have targeted. Okay, could you also have started it from here? Yeah. Okay, the reason why I say that is because remember, once price fails to reach the liquidity, in other words, this is the liquidity that we have over here, it fails to go higher. All right, in other words, it has its first turnaround here and it starts coming back up, and it fails to go at the same spot or higher. In other words, it went less deeper into the long, then that's the turnaround point. Okay, so right here it starts turning around, coming down. Okay, in all honesty, guys, here once it reached the 12, this would have been probably a good one right there. And when you look at this move right here, to the 50, guys, that's 147 points right there. Solid trade. The one that I took this morning was roughly over 50 points, somewhere in there. Okay, but overall, I mean, I was happy with it. Now, what I saw earlier in the day was this. I saw the POC leading this way. So I had the sense that New York PM was going to try to rebalance. In other words, it was going to try to go back higher at some point. Now, I have built for the New York PM, I am working on this program. Alright, I'm going to take this off. Looks similar to this first one here. Now, this is just the first version 1.4. I'm working on 1.5. Alright, and I'm going to, right here, I'm going to turn on my bands for Remitar version 2. You remember, if you've been here with me before, I have these three bands, my green, my red, my white, and my red here. They become flat when usually New York PM starts. Now, what happened here is, I remember what I said. It was going to rebalance because of this here. It was going to try to repair. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to go all the way up there, but I would target at the minimum my green band here. Okay, so once price started New York PM, we were below our Remitar red band. Okay, price goes over it, gives me a signal, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys here. This particular signal is not the one that I'm looking for. In the version that I'm working on, the next one, the goal is to, once price goes over the red band, needs to come back down, okay, and go back up, okay, and come back down, and on this rejection here, this is where I would get the signal here, right around this area here, and then we would target at the minimum take profit 1 here, our white band, and then finally our third band, our take profit 2 would be our green band. Okay, now if our auction 0 is above it, then we would target take profit 3 would be our auction 0. Okay, and so what I'll say, guys, is this, is that price, as you can see on the second part of the day for New York PM, it decided to go back up. And so when you look at it, guys, today was a it was a failed repair attempt, expansion down, and then a rotation and back. uh I guess you can say trying to go back into value once again.
Are you the kind of person
Okay.
who knows things?
All right, now the move that from here to here to the third, our green line here, 132 points. That would have been a solid uh, trade in the New York PM session. Now, does this mean that this is going to happen every single New York PM session? No, obviously not. Okay, there might be days where we're actually rising, and it might actually go the opposite, do the mirror effect. Or there might be days where it's going to reject here, all right, and it's going to come to the downside. Now, like I said, I am working on this specific section here, and this is supposed to give me some other things here. I don't see them here. I'm gonna have to work on some stuff here, but anyways, yeah. So I mean, this is what I'm trying to say, guys, today is that um, the lesson of today, guys, is this: is that not every outside value day trend. Some days the market has to rebalance first. Okay. This particular day, when you look at it, I mean, it gave me a little fake move, made us believe it was gonna go to the downside right off the bat. Did not. It had to give us some kind of rebalance here, and that's what this was. And then we had some type of expansion here, and New York PM actually, what did it do? Okay, it actually tried to go back up once again. Now, when liquidity fails, guys, like it did today, it usually goes the other way. So again, here, again, it was trying to go up to the liquidity, it failed, now it came back down. And guys, this is why journaling matters. Every day teaches you something different. If you're paying attention, you're going to get better, and you're going to recognize these patterns. This particular signal here from this program that I'm working on, I will say this, okay, I'm beginning to recognize it more and more. Okay, this was me just coding it in a way that I remembered, and it turned out to work out okay. So I'm hoping that in the future I can dial it in even better right around this area. Okay. Alright, guys, with that said, I hope you enjoyed this particular topic. I hope you learned from this. Take notes. Remember that this takes time, and when it takes time, eventually it's going to click, and it will change your life. Alright, with that said, till next time.